you're not familiar with Chris Stuckmann, he has his own YouTube channel, about 1.98 million subscribers. It's got some good content on there. Do check it out. He put out a teaser, and he did it as a teaser before. He put it together, and basically he started putting more pieces to the puzzle together. Now he created a Kickstarter for that as well, with a good promo. And it's called Shelby Oaks. It's a horror movie. And Shelby Oaks is one of those paranoid internet mysteries. And it's his first. And think about Chris before I go any further. He was fascinated with the movie making, behind the scenes and all that. He did a lot of time, learning the craft, learning the trade. And this is what you get. If you want to be in this business, learn the craft, learn the trade. It's very easy to do. A guy like this off YouTube can do it. You too can do it. This is how easy it is to learn the trade. You don't need to go to spend money on a university. There are trade schools out there that will teach you this for lower than price than a freaking college tuition. And with the Kickstarter that he put together, and it closed out recently as well, Chris raised $1.3 million on a goal of $250,000.
Here comes the money.
Here we go.
1.3 million. And this is going to be interesting. I do want to see this when this comes out. There is sort of like a bit of a video he put out, and this was before, I think this was before the Kickstarter. And it's sort of what he wanted to do on here. And it's a small scene of the last moments of a woman who disappeared. What's the basis of the movie itself. And it was not too much special effects. It was more toward lighting, editing, cell shading, shadows. And it's done very well. It's done like in a found footage situation, but the way it's shot, you look at it, it's very well. I mean, you wouldn't even recognize that someone else is in the screen without you really looking at it. And it's a real good one. Look it out on his YouTube channel. He has that on there. But listen, you have Sanderson and Chris here. Stuckmann, excuse me. I don't remember his last name. Stuckmann. Stuckmann and Sanderson both scoring big money on there. You don't need to score 40 million. You don't need to score $1 million. If you could score $100,000, you could do that too. Star Wars Theory is his movie, that Darth Vader thing, is costing him something like, to do 2 movies. I think he wants to do a part 2, part 3. It's going to cost him less than $400,000. Less than $400,000 to do that. And you see the quality of that Darth Vader mini movie. And that, that is, it's very good in itself. This goes to show you that basically we don't need Hollywood. We don't need Hollywood when it comes to that. Hollywood money is supplied by people. Understand that. Whether it's by taxes, whether it's by financiers, somebody's giving money to Hollywood to make this product. Okay? Whether they sell shares of the stock of the company or whatever. Understand that we could do the same. We just got to find the people. That's all we got to do. That's how normally it was before. We had to find financiers, the early part of Hollywood, to finance these films. Wasn't like they had big budgets back in the day, at the beginning, in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s. But it grew into that. It grew into that where basically, they kept being funded and funded and funded. And then they became political. And it wasn't that they got political just in the last 10 years. This has been rearing back all the way back during the McCarthy era. Problem is that when the McCarthy era is over and the Hays Code was abolished and the MPAA, a new Hollywood rose from those ashes. A new type of producer, directors. We saw some guys put out some great films in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. But the problem is some of the elites were still around. And they passed on the dangers that were being warned about a long time ago, were being pushed forward into new problems, new people that were just coming across with ideologies and activism. And that's what was pushing this Hollywood right into the furnace. That's why when we have people like, Chris and Brandon here, who are doing their best to bring out some great product on there, and you got to applaud, and you got to say to yourself, you sit back and he says, well, I haven't given anything to anybody. Let me go take a look what is good out there. Let me sit on Indiegogo and see what good products are out there. Or go on YouTube and see what we are all doing. See, that's why when some of us out here, when we say, well, we have a merch store, and or you can donate to us on PayPal or Super Chats or stuff like that. Well, there's a reason for that. Our shows cost money. Plain and simple, it does cost money.